Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to whatever comes in the next installment of this wild ride that we've been on. So, I have come away from asking the specific questions and kind of gotten into the flow of what wants to come out, and it has been very interesting. So yesterday we saw extreme charisma, extreme presence. Your person has so much presence in this energy. It is they are undeniable. They are also really hard to not think about. It feels like they are right there. So we're going to jump in and just kind of see what today's reading wants to tell you, what wants to come out in today's reading. It will be a general reading for this collective, as always, so it's not going to resonate with everybody, and it shouldn't resonate with everybody. But if it does resonate with you, maybe think about subscribing, looking at some of the other videos to see what's come before. So we're going to start off by getting the usual, which is going to be the energy. And what I've been doing here lately is I get the energy between you, with that energetic and emotional backdrop kind of in there as well. So what's the energy that's happening between you with the energy that is kind of that you're swimming in mixed in as well? So kind of like, what's the weather today? And let's see, we've got an Ace of Wands. So Ace of Wands, right off the bat, we've got something that feels like intentional movement forward. And I apologize if you guys are able to hear my cold. I started having this terrible cold, more movement forward. I started having this terrible cold yesterday, little while after I did the reading, and it just kind of grew throughout the day. So, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I can get through, turned into like a fever at night. And this morning I woke up and I was thinking about yesterday's reading, and I'm like, I need to know what happens next. So I jumped in here to go ahead and find out. But if you don't see a reading tomorrow, you know why. We'll just say that. All right, so we have the Ace of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and then the Six of Swords in the reverse. So, all right, this is overwhelm, but it's overwhelm with good intention. So there's a lot of, I feel like intentional movement forward. Intentional is a very important word here. It comes in as a very important concept. And so this is intentional movement forward, but not, it's a little bit chaotic. There's a little bit of chaos here in the energy. So it tells me, this is the energy of, you hear from them, but they're not completely able to have a conversation at the time that you have the opportunity to do so. So they try to interact with you, but they're not completely present somehow. And it's interesting. There's a lot that's going on, and it feels like there's a lot of noise in their mind when they run across you or when they're interacting with you. And so part of the fact that they can't find that balance, there's the Two of Pentacles, even in that conversation, has to do with the fact that they're facing you. They think about you a ton. They've been thinking about you a ton, but they don't want to, if we look at what came out yesterday, they don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. Ooh, dropped one. Ooh, but it dropped where we can use it. It is the King of Swords in reverse. Okay, they don't want to report the things, or they don't want to repeat the things of the past, but they have a hard time with trying to figure out a good path forward, partially because of this chaotic energy. So what's coming out here feels like it is energy that is impacting both of you, but we're mostly hearing their side of it. And I just roll with it when it does that, but I'm very aware that this could be a little bit of a kind of a combination of those. So we've got the Ace of Swords here in the reverse. Ace of Swords in the reverse, which is, it feels like they're not being completely truthful with themselves, but that's not surprising. They've got so much that's going on in their life right now. There's kind of this, they're feeling a little bit loose about enabling change for themselves. So there's more possibility, but also a lot of things that don't quite work out, don't add up easily for them. So they're getting a lot of advice in a lot of different directions, can't decide which way to go with it. And some of the decisions they're making are not for the best reasons. So I don't see self-destructive. I distinctly did not see self-destruction when that Ace of Wands came out, but I see a potential for still making some decisions that are not, that they will have to dig themselves out of. We'll say that. Interesting. This is an energy today of, I feel like I have to move. Definitely. Okay, here's our Two of Cups again. The Two of Cups has been coming out every day here recently. And here again, it means that same thing that I was talking about a few minutes ago, where they've been thinking about you a ton. But again, even though they've been thinking about you a ton, they're trying to figure out like some way around the difficult, painful parts that would help them to kind of navigate this and feel a little bit better about things. We've got the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. This is what they need to feel better about. So they've got a little bit of shame, certainly an awareness of where they haven't treated you right in the past, but there's a need to make things right, a confidence that they can do so. Got the Seven of Wands and the Venus card. So the Seven of Wands, excuse me, this is a terrible cold, and I'm just like, maybe I won't do a reading today. And then I'm like, no, I'm doing it. So the Seven of Wands, it's about the confidence that they have, they feel like going forward. But this Venus, the Venus card is it's a perception, but it's a perception of being ready to move forward, move into something that they did not feel ready for. Like, this is a person this is a wild hare. Okay, this is the attitude of a wild hare. Like, they just all of a sudden decide to do something that they maybe historically have not done or has seemed a little out of character for them. This is the energy of somebody you have not heard from in years, picking up the phone and calling or texting, getting in touch, and it's a very valiant forward movement, but it's a little chaotic and not as very well thought through, not necessarily, like they're going to have to dig themselves out of this, like I was saying. But they've been doing a lot of thinking about you. So this is interesting. Let's go a little bit farther. Let's see what else wants to come out here. Because, honestly, we're looking at kind of what you can expect, but we're looking at through the energy of what's happening. So what's happening with them right now is that wild hare sort of energy. And we've seen that. We've seen that in the loose cannon sort of way. I was just mentioning that they were feeling a little loose about enabling change for themselves right now. They're letting go of the way they feel like things have always been. There's this huge opportunity for them to go new directions, and they have that energy of like walking around or walking through new doors, but not in a hurry. Like we saw yesterday, they want to go through new doors, but they don't necessarily want to be in a hurry about it. And there's nothing wrong with taking it slow. You got that advice too, to worry about or to not worry about rushing your decisions. And we saw in your energy that we had that kind of struggling energy going on, but it was there to teach you something useful and something important. Because the other piece that really struck for me was that this was a person who admires you. They're intimidated by you. But they weren't expecting to feel this way. So there's a lot of energy of love in your direction. They can't stop thinking about you, but they still have that tendency to almost want to research where you're at emotionally before they show up. So remember, we saw that spying energy coming out yesterday, energy around them that says that they aren't likely to stay long. But this is here saying that there is a wild hare, like a strong feeling that they might do something just very unexpected, So let's see what it does look like. I mean, again, what's in that energy? It gives us a little bit of an idea of what you can expect. We looked into they have this super charismatic energy. Remember, there's tons of charisma, tons of intensity. Yeah. King of Pentacles. This is incredibly convincing too. Like, they're convincing you and them. They've got an incredibly convincing energy of charisma, and I'm the one who deserves to be here, but they're incredibly shameful, and it's like a side that they wouldn't want you to see. Has a little bit of that hidden shame to it, and they don't know if there's a path to the other side. So this is actually really this is impressive that they're willing to try in the ways that they're willing to try in this energy. We saw yesterday when we got into that extended reading that it was the kind of the tumultuous nature of the changes that they're going through, the sort of energy of that change they're trying to avoid because they don't feel ready for it, but they're bursting at the seams. And so this is the energy of, as they move more your direction, they've got all this confidence, but also this shame that comes with it. And they're sort of they're almost wondering if they're capable of moving forward. But there's this moment of clarity that says, yes, you can. And yes, it will work out fine. I feel like it will work out fine. They're not wrong about that. Sorry for being so stuffed up. I did not see this coming. Actually, I did. My kids were sick, but I don't always get everything that comes through here, so I was hoping. I had my fingers crossed. Here's our Page of Cups. So we've got a Page of Cups here saying that, remember we've had on and off here over the last couple weeks, there's been this feeling that there might be a bit of an apology or an apologetic sort of energy coming your direction, but not necessarily like it could be a botched apology. It could be that it doesn't come through especially eloquently, okay, or that it doesn't come through the way that it's meant. I feel like in this energy it does actually reflect a little bit better than all that. So we've also seen that their vulnerability has, on some days it's flagging, on some days we haven't seen much about it here, just except they're looking like they're coming bright for you in this energy. Seven of Swords in the reverse, that is, again, doesn't slow them down. There's nothing to slow them down there in that energy. That is the energy of feeling like you know, they are ready to trust themselves. It's self-trust. It's feeling like if they get all out in the middle of the deep portion of the pool, they're going to be fine because they know they can float. They do have this Ace of Pentacles that's saying they've got some wariness about walking through a door, and I feel like it's connected to this Three of Wands that's saying they're not quite sure if they've figured out what they need to figure out. They're not quite sure how well they can float, and yet they've got a little bit of this confidence saying, oh, you're going to be fine. So one thing that I will say is that there are a lot of secrets coming out that have been kind of what's creating this moment of clarity for them, but it's also been a little bit of what's shaken them up. So it's partially coming out of, it's a third party story, but it's coming out of that third party energy partially because that is shaking them up and making them see a little bit differently. So they're having new perspectives as a result of that. They know they are not especially happy. So what they're in danger of right now is, we've got the Queen of Swords here. What they're in danger of right now is moving too quickly in a certain direction. So we see that over here. We see that they just kind of get wild and do something unexpected. Here with the Queen of Swords, they have the potential to do that in kind of situations that involve the stability of their life. And I don't know how much you're going to see that out of them, but the tendency toward that is there. So it's about how much are they capable of, I guess, managing those impulses, because this will be impulsive. They will feel impulsive. They will feel like there are things that they are just ready to go do. And some of those things may be, so we see the communication piece. We've been seeing communication through this. So a lot of people have been reaching out. There's been a lot of, what did I drop here? Nope, nothing face up. Everything fell face down, so we're not going to use it. But yeah, there's been a lot of instances of people reaching out, but not necessarily a lot of instances of the conversations going incredibly fruitfully. Here's that Knight of Swords again. That's them watching again. I mentioned earlier that they wanted to kind of research where you were emotionally before they show up. This is that. This is looking at your social media. This is very much reading things that you've written in the past, of imagining. There's a lot of, this is fantasy energy. Three of Pentacles doesn't usually come out as fantasy energy for me, but it does very strongly here. And they're picturing, here's what would happen if they had a certain conversation with you. So might be that same conversation we were hearing a lot about last month, might be something different, because remember, the timing on that was going to vary for everyone. So some of you have had a very important conversation that has already kind of put you into that place where you're trying to figure out where to go next. And some of you are still heading toward that conversation, so it'll happen at different times. We have the Knight of Wands here, which wanted to come out earlier, and then it didn't, and now it's here, it's back. Feels like a lack of, so this is about trying to keep it in the air, as far as here is someone who has a tendency toward depression almost, or depressive energy as it relates to this situation. And so there's shifting going on here, but they are really on a precipice about you. There's a lot about you specifically where it might feel like, you know, I keep getting these notes that say, I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like this person is in the room with me. The energy is just so intense, and it hasn't felt like that in a long time. That's why this feels very different, you know. This verifies that, but I guess when we get into the extended, let's get in a little bit deeper and just understand kind of we see here that, you can expect maybe for them to reach out to you, but it doesn't necessarily tell us the quality of that communication. Just that there's a lot of fear in them, that they're really watching you ahead of time. They're afraid to walk through the door. They're not feeling very happy in the rest of their situation right now. So that's kind of what is happening in the energy. Let's dig in a little bit farther, see if we can dial it in just a little bit tighter and understand what's happening in like what kind of behaviors you might see from this energy that you can expect to come through. So not just, yes, they may reach out, but what would that be like? What can you expect out of them? Before we get into that, we'll do the portion with you. So this is going to be what you can be focused on mostly, because of what we see here in the rest of the situation. What should that area of focus look like for you? And that area of focus really varies. You guys are working through so many lessons. This is about making sure, with the Two of Wands, making sure that you remain true to yourself, or making sure you're on the move right now. You're in the midst of, you hear the dog shaking in the background and the clink of her collar. In case you were curious what that is, and in case you're actually able to hear it, she's in here and making a bunch of noise now. But so this Two of Wands is really about allowing yourself to, you're in motion, emotional distance, you're traveling right now in the process of redefining some values. And this is really about staying on top of that, because there may be a tendency in this energy for you to meander in that path a little bit. Remember, your person got the Eight of Cups in the reverse too, I feel like. No, maybe I'm just feeling that same kind of, it was that same kind of feeling. And I was, as soon as I said it, I was like, no, I felt it in there. And I really, honestly, I just kind of felt it in there when I saw that. Honestly, that Ace of Pentacles come out in the reverse has that same sort of feeling of, okay, there's a tendency to meander. It practically belongs over here in that part of the messages, because it's almost like the energy. It's not specifically between you, but it is in like that underlying energy. We also have the Seven of Pentacles. So there's this feeling of, it's like almost being very critical of yourself and being your own worst critic. It has to do with feeling that you've not invested in yourself in places that, watch out, because you might have. So I dropped some cards, but they fell face down. I always like to tell you guys that. So if it seems like I just like disappear and then appear with some other cards, like what happened, some of you are brand new and won't know where I'm going. So I thought I'd clarify. So we have the Jupiter card. Okay, so Venus is like the Empress and Jupiter is like the Emperor in this deck. So this is a feeling of you're coming into more balance from a masculine energy standpoint, but you've still got some work to do here. So it's very much a becoming. Just like this Two of Wands is, hey, you're in motion, keep going in the right direction. This has kind of got that as well. But the Six of Wands is that reassurance that things are going to go incredibly well. They will do better if you're able to correct some of this meandering energy and not listen to the negative self-talk that's represented here by the Seven of Pentacles and the I haven't invested in myself kind of feeling. The Four of Wands in the reverse is saying that there might be a tendency to, you may actually have to unpack some things in order to repack it properly. It's like having to take a step backwards so that you can re-engage well. It's that kind of energy. And then we've got the Ten of Wands. This is about carrying too much of a load. It's about deciding when it's the right time to take a break. It's about deciding what matters more to you. And every time you come to one of those crossroads, you have to make a decision. How much does this matter to me compared with how much control do I have over it? And how much responsibility do I carry, and sometimes those things are sliding and they're changing, and you have to evaluate them so that you're not just carrying too much of a load out of habit. Here with the Five of Swords, though, there is something in you that has changed. You have something that you're moving toward, with the Earth. So this is the Earth in reverse is the same as the World in reverse in the traditional tarot, and it's something that hasn't yet been completed. Okay, so it's something that you're still going to complete, still need to complete, but you've removed some sort of obstacle That was an internal obstacle. You've removed some type of obstacle through your healing, okay? And you now have a new perspective. So the horologium is like the Hanged Man. The Four of Swords is all about that healing, that rest and rejuvenation, that you may not have slowed down very much to get that rest and rejuvenation, but at some point you have stopped and you found the type of wisdom that you needed to find at the time that you needed to find it, that gave you what you needed here. So you may still need some rest and rejuvenation, but what I'm especially happy about here is you're not still throwing good energy after bad with this Five of Swords. And here with the Earth card in the reverse, we see that there's still something that you need to move toward. But just like we've been seeing in a lot of the cards here, or in a lot of the readings here recently, there's not really a reason for you to rush toward a decision or to rush toward any answers. And let's see, I feel like something else still needs to come out for you. I left room for like one more card, so hopefully it's not too many more. We've got the Pavo card. Okay, and it is just the one. We have the Pavo card. So Pavo is like the Tower. Again, we've seen a lot of this energy of the Tower coming your direction. Energy of things changing, falling, no longer being what they once were. I feel like here with this Four of Wands, though, that came out in the reverse for you over here, if you can get this self-talk under control, then this Tower is not going to be an issue for you because of this new perspective that you have. This is some growth that you've done. So some ways in which you have grown that are going to help you to take this new perspective and make it, kind of repave as you're building. So the Pavo, the Tower card, is about everything coming down, but you use those pieces then to rebuild, and you rebuild upon that foundation, and you have built so much into your foundation here during this most recent bout of healing that your Tower doesn't have to come all the way down. And remember, again, this is not necessarily an unpleasant situation. So even though it is probably an intense situation, I don't see that it is a super negative one. And again, you probably got I still feel the energy of the decisions that you need to make, even without seeing the Two of Swords here, like you're trying to decide how to spend your time and where to put your energy. So I feel like it's super important that you continue working on that and continue prioritizing, figuring out where you want to put your energy, because you aren't going to be able to do it in all the places. That's what that Ten of Wands is all about. And you are going to have some decisions to make. This, though, does not have to be negative. I still feel like that evidence of that other soulmate energy that's in there. I feel like maybe we need to do a reading on that one of these days as well. Just putting that out there, because I feel like it's heavy in your energy, especially now you're going into a place where some of the lessons that you're looking to learn you're getting to the business end of them, and all of a sudden things are going to start taking off there. Things are taking off here with this person's energy as well. So we're going to dig in a little bit deeper when we get into the extended and find out. So again, like it looks like there's energy of communication of them communicating your direction. We've seen in some recent readings that it is not recommended for you to reach out to them, not because they don't want to hear from you, but because they're trying to maintain a balance, and you reaching out is likely to push them a little bit farther away. It may cause an entire reset for them, which would be more than just the minor setback. Regardless, though, I would say that the communication that they have with you, regardless of whether you reach out to them or they reach out to you, it is likely to create a bit of a setback for both of you. But let's get a feel for the nature of that communication when we go into the extended. So the link for the extended is down below. So if you'd like to go there, I would love to see you. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you again in tomorrow's reading.